Hey, listen, I quit. Yeah, I'm going into stocks.
Name of the game. Move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket. But if you can make your client's money at the same time, it's advantageous to everyone, correct? No.
No one is paying attention.
It's unbelievable.
Have to act now.
God, this is intimate. I feel like I'm financially inside of you or something.
Okay.
I have 5 houses and a condo.
I'm considering going long on April wheat. What do you think, Valentine?
Hi guys, welcome to the Greedy Trader channel. Well, I'm not exactly greedy, as most of you old watchers of the channel will testify. I have the most conservative approach to trading. It's just a nice parody idea from the Gordon Gekko mantra. There are only two kinds of traders, the greedy ones and the fearful ones.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works.
Those of you who are new to the channel, this is where you can learn how to really trade like a professional. Every video I make is packed with real examples with before and after scenarios, so you can see that it is simply a question of sticking with the plan, not changing it because you're having an emotional meltdown. No! Welcome back, people. Really good to have everybody here again with me this very early morning in Latin America and somewhere between a reasonable morning in London and wherever you are in America, of course, whatever time zone. Good to have you all here. I'm continuing on along the line of the theme, which is getting a better understanding of our psychology, how we unintentionally self-sabotage ourselves, right? That's the point. Now, you could be a great technical analysis trader, but if you can't get your mental side together, and a lot of you know what I'm talking about, even people I've worked with, if you can't get your mental side together, you're always going to be self-sabotaging your own progress. For me anyway, from what I see, this is the single reason most people have a harrowing time as traders. I know personally I've had to do a lot of work on myself, and the best way to kind of identify how we self-sabotage ourselves is to first understand what archetype we are. So again, I'm going back to Carl Jung, someone's theories who I think has been very influential on the way that I trade and look at markets. Now, Jung believes in this collective unconsciousness, right? Which he calls archetypes. So every one of us has an archetype. Regardless of your profession, your work of life, your age, whatever it is, that you use to define yourself, we all got an archetype, right? And this is what's interesting, right? And through my life anyway, and I've worked with a lot of people, at some points in my life, I've had to manage small numbers of people. So I got to know them quite intimate. And what I discovered was ultimately that these individuals had a specific kind of personality that was not unique to them, but was visible in other people as well. And the more I explored this, because those group of people were all surrounding trading at the time, the more I explored this, the more I realized that this is something that I need to be looking at. So for myself, that pushed me a lot to try and understand myself better, so I can become a better trader. Because at the time, any flaws that existed in my trading wasn't because I was a bad trader. It wasn't because I couldn't become a good trader. It was because essentially I had all these habits and mental blocks and inner conflicts that had developed because of my archetype. So how did this all lead to self-sabotage? How does it all get to the place where we start to self-sabotage each other, or ourselves really, rather than each other? In some cases, we self-sabotage each other because there's a lot of criticism and judgment. Ever wanted a prop firm that would just fund you and you get to prove your ability? Meet Tradify, the future's prop firm doing just that. Choose from tailored funding programs that align with your trading style, offering account sizes up to $750,000 with the ability to go straight to funded account, skipping evaluations. Experience seamless trading with their integration with top-tier platforms like Tradeovate, providing powerful features and access to the latest technology in the futures market. Enhance your strategy with automated trade journaling, offering in-depth analysis to refine your performance. Follow a transparent path from evaluation to live funded accounts with clear rules to support you at every step. Start trading a fully funded account now with Tradify. Please use the link in the description below. It supports the channel and our sponsors. Online, arguably, of course, this is terrible, it shouldn't be happening. And it comes down to authenticity, being your authentic self. Obviously, I tune on and have a chat with you guys, and I desperately try to be as authentic as possible. I'm just a humble trader at the end of the day. There are people who manage billions and billions of dollars. Some of them have got YouTube channels. Some of them don't. Some of them just like to live privately. But I tune in every day and have a chat with you guys and ultimately try and show you what I know. And again, I'm of the mindset that everyone needs a degree of mentorship, at least to guide them through things like this, understanding themselves so they can develop better performance and they can optimize and be at the peak of their game. Right, so let's talk about archetypes, right? Because I guess this is going to flesh this out and it's going to help you understand how this could impact your trading. Because sometimes when people tune into these videos, and if you're completely new to the channel, then you'll see I've got a ton of content on analyzing markets. I'm totally proven as an individual that understands what they're doing, clearly. That said, I've got a ton of stuff to go through on my YouTube channel, so you don't even have to go anywhere or do anything. You just have to stay there and watch everything, and you realize that, oh, this is the bit I was probably missing. And that's great, because you can develop on that. Then essentially you're going to have the technical skills, the prerequisite to move forward and start to at least get base hits. But beyond that, what do? You've come in, the reason why you're probably watching this video, and the reason is because you have a pain point, right? This game is giving you a load of crap, or maybe you're just curious, or already you're inhabiting an incredibly toxic mindset, right? You're probably watching this and maybe trying to click off or feeling overly critical or just doom scrolling social media, or you're proper engaged because you really think that it's the last chance for me. Wherever you are in your life, you're here because essentially you've got a pain point, and you probably are not a bad technical analyst. You understand the markets to a degree. Even if you've got a few false assumptions, you probably can do technical analysis and you can take trades. And you're going to run into a lot of traders who are going to tell you that that's pretty much all you need to become a trader. You don't really need anything else. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's what you see on a chart that works. If you can work that out and you can find a strategy that has a bit of an edge, then, you know, what else do you need to know? And that holds true to a large extent. But why isn't it working? Essentially, why is it still a struggle? Why are you still making mistakes, silly mistakes? Why don't you have enough record on essentially your own expectancy, right? Wins versus losses, right? Why can you never stick to your risk reward profiling? Why do you keep cutting the trade, right? It's lots of whys, right? I know, I'm sorry, I'm questioning your values by using the word why, but I think I really want to bring in the idea that what is going wrong, essentially. So if we reel it all back, then we have to conclude that what's going wrong has to be associated with, on some level anyway, with your mental space. Now, there are a lot of people online who don't really understand what it means to do mental work, so it becomes a dog word, which is, oh right, yeah, psychology, it's trading is 20% the charts, 80% mental, you know, and it becomes very facetious in nature. The truth of the matter is that, yeah, mental's got a lot to do with it, but it involves a lot of deeper inner work. And that's what essentially I try and do, is think about things from a very deep inner work point of view, because if you're going to be a good performer, you don't have to believe what I'm telling you. Hedge funds and big firms that are involved in trading, that run big teams, that develop traders, they have in-house people who are pretty skilled in essentially doing that deep work with you. And a lot of them have got different psychological hacks, tricks, methodologies, whatever. But that's essentially what the firm pays those people to do. They pay them a lot of money to get people to where they need to be mentally. It's not that you can do the inner work yourself. It's just shortcutting it. It's pretty easy if you can go to someone with an inner work playbook and say you do X, Y, and Z, and you start to build your performance. So not being in that environment as a trader, essentially I got to do my own deep work, because I know that I'm not getting better as a trader unless I sit and I do that deep work. Right, so you guys are probably wondering what the hell's going on my screen. I say this every video. Well, of course, for those of you who've been following previous videos and following some of these topics and things we've been talking about, really hope it's been helping you and it's been improving you as an individual and essentially making you a better trader. But what you probably notice is that I covered my AMDE put strikes. I did say that, I believe, on the last video, but just to rehash it. So that's one of the trades I've got on my premium. So I was short premium collected. I was short premium about 236, I believe it was, on AMD. I've only got the last 7 days worth of trades visible. So this was my cover just yesterday, effectively coming out of that trade. Good decision, I think. I think the puts are really cheap now, and it was a good time to cover them. I've still got a few going. I've still got QCOM. So essentially, we just spin over to QCOM. I believe I'm on the May 16th for QCOM as well. I always make that mistake of not knowing what strike I'm on. I think I'm on the May 16th, but we're going to find out soon enough. Yes, I am. So you can see, obviously, my entry, this red haze, attractive brokers likes that haze. And of course, you can see that trade's still active. I don't even know where my triangle is, which is typically on my trades, and it's not a spread. I'm not doing this as a bull put spread, but I can't see it. Sometimes I need to go back and re-edit the settings of the chart every time IB updates. For some reason, I've got to put all the bits to make the trade show up. Or it could be it's just post 7 days, but I don't believe I was short these puts now for a week. I don't believe I was in these puts for, no, it's not quite 7 days, so it should still be showing up here, but for some reason it's not. But anyway, never mind, you can still see the position. Right, so this is where we are. I'm looking to cover these down here, and I also still have Cisco, which is the other one that I've got. Let's just go scroll up a little bit on the watch list, and there he is. And I believe I've got Cisco on the May 16th as well.
Build your trading career with the Fivers, where opportunity meets quality prop trading. The Fivers is one of the oldest prop firms in the business, with over 9 years of experience funding traders. Join a select group of top traders and access funding up to $4 million, empowering you to trade with confidence and scale your trading business. Experience exceptional trading conditions with low commissions, tight spreads, and the freedom to hold positions overnight or over weekends. Accelerate your trading journey with their hyper-growth program, doubling your account size at every milestone, propelling you towards your financial goals. Join a vibrant community of successful traders. More traders have succeeded in keeping their Fivers funded account than any other prop firm. Benefit from their reliable payout policy, receiving profits with a click of a button, ensuring you reap the rewards of your trading prowess. Unlock trading capital with sensible rules by joining the Fivers. Sign up using the link in the description below. This supports the channel and our sponsors. Do it now.
I think so. We'll soon find out. I think I've got a 55 strike on these. I think so. And there we do. So this one has a triangle. I have no idea why the QCOM doesn't. But anyway, because I had those positions around about the same time. So here we are. So again, that's also doing very well. So again, I sell short premium to make income. Right. Pretty open about this. It's again, I've got the link in the description below for my Discord server. So if you guys want to check out, I do, and get to see occasionally what I post up on technicals and everything else to benefit traders, then you can check out the Discord server. I try and use the YouTube to be a little bit more open and out there and talk about the things that genuinely affect traders and try and make trading real to an extent. At the end of the day, why do we do this? It's because people want to make money. They want to change their lives. And when I say make money, sometimes you just want to make a living. I've always looked at trading that way. Look, if I can make pretty much a decent income, and when I said decent income, you know, decent white collar income, as we call it in the UK, then what's the problem, right? All this bollocks, all this BS about Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff. Look, that is just a factor, the account size, right? If you've done some crazy stuff and you've made a lot of money, that's great. I mean, again, talking about archetypes, they're different types, and we're going to come to that. But that's the thing. For me, it's not about that. It's about making a living so you can look after the people you care about, and, you know, you can buy yourself a degree of freedom, right? So it's a business really that you're trying to develop like any other business. I mean, when people start online businesses, for example, you know, and I've had the pleasure of hanging around a lot of entrepreneurs that own online businesses that make money. One of the things, the risks that they have is that they've got to do things like Google ads, right? And Google ads, they're not cheap. So some of these guys have to put budgets of 25, 30 grand. Now, how does that not feel like your trading capital deposit? And they give it to Google and it's done, right? Once they've put it in, they're not getting it back. Now they have to hope that Google sends them sufficient traffic that they need to put infrastructure in to convert into paying customers, right? And sometimes they don't generate enough traffic to cover their cost of investment in paid ads, not to mention running costs. And when they chop it up and down, they're looking at maybe, in some cases, 10-20% margins, right? Which is the equivalent of maybe a 10-20% return on capital, right? That's the reality of it. In some cases, they run at a loss. They don't make any money. A very big spend. Now it's all gone and they've turned over nothing, right? They've got some of their money back, but they've lost a portion of it. How does that not feel like a really big stop loss? So the bottom line is, as a trader, you're running a business, and essentially like every other business owner, you really got to think about it, just what it is. It's really as simple as that. Anyway, I'm not going to labor the point. Talk about archetypes, right? How does this help you? So you can talk, so they've got 12 archetypes. Definitely going to not talk to you about all, right? But typically we can all understand that since the archetypes effectively is this unconscious, common binding thread between all humans, right? Then we've all got an archetype. So for example, the hero. The hero is someone who is perceived or portrayed to have courage, determination, desire to prove himself, right? A good example, of course, is the President of the United States. Thinks of himself as a hero, saving the people, saving the world from the grip of the villains. It's an interesting archetype. As a trader, that archetype is going to lead you to think of the market as a place you want to conquer. You probably are someone that thrives on challenges. You go for glory. You take very high risk positions so you can end up on the next podcast as the next $1 million trader. It's the hero is the kind of trader who goes out and buys a Lamborghini because he wants to celebrate his conquests. He was in it for the glory. He didn't care if he blew up or he didn't blew up. None of that matters as long as he won. It's winning at all costs. That is typically the hero. And heroes would resonate with each other. So, for example, I'm doing this video now. If you are a hero archetype, I guarantee you, if you're still here, you're going to be gone in the next 5 minutes. You're going to click off the video because you're like, where's the glory? Where are the $1 billion trades? Where's the all or nothing? It's the reason why Wall Street Bets is popular. It's because there are a lot of heroes. And I bet you most of the people in there that are fueling that forum are going to be of the hero archetype. But like all archetypes, whilst their core strengths are pretty resilient, they're very goal oriented. If they're thinking about the dollar signs and how to go from 0 to 1 million, you're clearly really about the big goals. And often they're willing to take risks, so they really don't have a problem getting into trades, right? They just don't have a problem hitting the button. Some of them can be quite calculated, so they'll take calculated risks, but for the most part, they're quite convicted, right? But they've got weaknesses. The hero's pretty overconfident. They tend to ignore the warning signs. They tend to fear failure. So these things are going to be their driving forces. It's like, I can't fail. I don't want to fail. So guess what? It's all or nothing. Let's roll this dice. I use the President of the United States as an example. You can see that in his monetary policy. And by the way, I'm not saying he's a good or a bad guy. You know, I was a fan for a long time. Right now, the economic side of it doesn't look quite great. And I think a lot of his team are probably getting things a little bit twisted. But that's okay, right? For me, it's the economic side. Yeah, I'm not about social policy. I really don't care about it. I think it's all just it's all in people's heads, you know. So I'm not all about the social policies. For me, it's about the economic policy. If that checks out, then, you know, I'll think, yeah, this guy's solid. And that's how I see things. So I know this archetype's got weaknesses. So whilst there's a lot of conviction, determination, a hell of a lot of bravado, pretty resilient to criticism and being attacked by opponents, very, very goal-oriented. I do what I say I'm going to do. I do my best to get there. Absolutely hate failing, so I will double down if I need to. For example, 50% tariffs on Canada. Well, I know it's not technically going to move forward yet. It's on a bit of a pause, but the mere fact that doubling down behavior tends to be very evident in this archetype. If you come at me, I'm just going to go harder, right? So if the market throws more challenges at me, I'm just going to go double. If I lose a trade, I'm just going to go even harder. Jesse Livermore is a good example of someone who could be described as a hero. So archetypes define us as traders, right? Now, if you ask me sometimes, I would say my archetype is a rebel. Nonconformity. If I could, I would disrupt the status quo. Rebels often go against the crowd, right? People who've worked with me would understand that I always look at the market in a way that other people are not going to look at it that same way. I like contrarian stuff. One of the people I interviewed on my podcast is Jason Shapiro, and amazing guy, love him, right? Absolutely amazing guy. But he's a big contrarian. Talking to him for a couple of hours, I realized that, yeah, Jason, you're a bit of a rebel. And in everything he does and says, that's what he is, you know. And we had a very interesting conversation at the time about how he's such an he can be a bit of an emotional wreck. Like he says, look, I'm not the standard when you think about someone who is like got it all together, like emotionally balanced around trading. It's just not me. I'm just a worth when it comes to mental health. And I found it incredibly funny, but it's really typical with a rebel. So they're going to resist all forms of rules or authority, and that sometimes means resisting your own trading plans. I know definitely in my early trading life, I just for ages I didn't have a trading plan per se, or like a trading log, or I didn't journal. Didn't do any of that. Like, so what's the point? You know what you're doing. You should be able to do it every day. Why the hell do you need to write it down? Over time, I understood the importance of doing that. And everyone who works with me knows that I preach it religiously, that you've got to jot things down, because I became a very data-driven trader down the line. But that was because of my deep work, right? But I became aware of my archetypes. What are my strengths? Quite independent. People already know that about me. I'm innovative, so I can change. I'm very adaptable. I'm capable of spotting unique opportunities. Again, if you look for my YouTube channel, that's what you'll see, is me coming up with unique ideas, unique ways of looking at things. Just talking to you now is my own unique take on how, so that's my strength, right? Is my ability to do that. It's unquestionable. What are my weaknesses? Absolutely, I can be a little bit impulsive. I wouldn't say I take unnecessary risks, but every now and again, and you know, some of my losing trades this year, like even selling premium, I had a terrible position on PayPal. Now, if I should have kept it, probably be all right. PayPal 69.74. I had a 79 strike, 65, and but when we had that market downturn, my portfolio was a little bit sideways, so I had to cut my PayPal positions. It was a little painful, but that was an impulsive move because the market downturn was so aggressive that I needed to kind of readjust my deltas a little bit. And as a consequence, I had to make some tough decisions. Or at least that's what I tell myself, it's a tough decision, but really, in hindsight, should have probably just stuck with the whole move. Yeah, I could handle it. That wasn't a problem. It was my impulsiveness that stepped in, right? And my PayPal positions were a little bit overweight, so arguably it was unnecessary risk I didn't need to have on PayPal because I had some other good stuff that I didn't cut. And worst case scenario, I could have actually bought physical PayPal stock if I wanted to, but ultimately I had that additional risk on, which some people might say is unnecessary. I used to, like I said, I used to have difficulty following structured plans, right? Which is typically a weakness in a rebel. Over time, I developed structured plans in ways that I could be comfortable using them so I can overcome those weaknesses, because that's essentially what got me to becoming a better trader. Is my strengths, I don't need to work on those, I already have them, right? And I know they have a place in the market because I'm always going to look at the market uniquely, and that's going to give me access to opportunities that otherwise other traders won't see. That's my strength, right? I can't say that's the strength of a hero. That's not how a hero makes money in a market. And the hero knows that the strength of a rebel is not how he makes money in a market, right? So we have to be objective about these things. So for example, as a rebel, how did I overcome all of my weaknesses? Well, usually the growth opportunity for a rebel is being able to channel that kind of rebellious energy into some kind of disciplined, rule-based strategy approach. Something that's heavily rule-based. So some of the things that I'm, as a mentor, when I mentor traders, is I talk about checklists, but my checklists are not like ordinary checklists. They're checklists that if a trader goes through them, it will stop them from embracing their biases. Something that was the weakness for a rebel, I turned into a strength by creating a rule-based system that was a rebellious checklist, right? So it was me rebelling against the herd, understanding the herd and trying to unpack it. So I built it in a way that I could observe it with my rebellious mentality. Maybe the checklists don't work for a hero, but it's there. And if you're a hero, one of the things that I always do before working with anyone anyway is running them through a personality test. It's a very quick one, but it helps me understand who you are. I quickly understand your archetype, then I can work with you better because I know what would work very well for you, and then I can implement that. It's really simple. Right, so that's something that I do and I've become incredibly good at. So for me, it's about driving performance, taking a trader who essentially feels they're struggling. I know they just feel they're struggling, and turning them around. And if they don't have a playbook, giving them a few playbooks, getting them to religiously use those playbooks and stick to that rule set. A lot of mentors, that's sometimes the issue. It's not some people aren't great mentors. There's some really good people out there who are really helping people with trading. But the problem is that they are unable to get their people to stick to the ideas that they taught them. Within about a week, these guys are off doing what they want to do, doing different things from what you taught them. And they don't even have the data set to justify swapping from one idea to the next. It's what it is. What can you do about it? So that's the point, right? You have to be able to develop something that's going to get people to stick to what they've been taught and ultimately get that expectancy and move forward. And they're not going to do that if it doesn't match their archetype. And I understand that entirely. Purpose for understanding the archetype. If you're a hero, you want to learn to balance essentially a degree of humility, right? So you balance your courage, you're brave, we get it, with some humility, right? So you can't always just be all guns blazing. You've got to be humble at points. Risk management, obviously we get it. You have the ability to fire clips, right? And you see them all the time. So these are your podcast guys, right? I made 200,000 trading in the day. It's the best day of my life, I can now do whatever I want in my life. Or, oh, I just became a million, I made a million. These are all heroes. These are guys who've been swinging for the fences, and they're pretty good at swinging for the fences. But if they were just to add a little bit of risk management onto that, it would reduce their chances of blowing out. And they can keep swinging for the fences, but their risk management has to accommodate that. So they have to be smart about it, and they need to know the best way to swing up for the fences. Hero archetypes are going to be the hardest to mentor because they just want to get on with it. They just want to double down. And if your mentor's a rebel like myself, ultimately they're going to be like, yeah, I get all this contrarian and, you know, make it look like this, make it look like that, do this, all this rule set, but just give me the bloody gun. I want to go to town, right? I can do this, right? I've got a few ideas, it looks great, boom, let's go, right? The heroes are the guys who are going to post their profits everywhere. Look, I made millions, right? And they're very charismatic. They're going to be attractive to most people. So when you see them on social media, you're going to be like, yay, let's go for these guys. So anyway, this is the point, guys. This is the point. So how do we improve, right? How do we get better? Essentially, how do we stop self-sabotage? That's all it is. Discover your archetype, right? So again, sticking with that Jungian overlap with trading. It has a lot to do with trading, right? That's how you do it. You identify initially your archetype, who you are, and then move from there to kind of structure yourself in a way to be able to overcome your weaknesses associated with that archetype. Now, I hope this has been useful. Interesting moves today in the market. I'm looking at a few plays on the commodity side. So I think I'll be looking at crude oil. But let's see how we open into the US session. Anyway, awesome stuff, guys. Till the next video. Adios.
Hey, listen, I quit. Yeah, I'm going into stocks.
Name of the game. Move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket. But if you can make your client's money at the same time it's advantageous to everyone, correct? No.
No one is paying attention.
It's unbelievable.
Have to act now.
God, this is intimate. I feel like I'm financially inside of you or something.
Okay.
I have 5 houses and a condo.
I'm considering going long on April wheat. What do you think, Valentine?